Matt's a point on the board. What did you think of the performance today?
Just lacked a goal, certainly in terms of some of the chances we created. Look, we know we weren't at our fluent best over the course of the 90 plus minutes of the game, but we still created some chances which would have made us probably feel better about ourselves, built a little bit of confidence, forced the opposition to change. So generally pleased with the intent, obviously wanting more in terms of executing certain moments in the game, but from where we've been the last couple, I think I was much improved.
Yeah, so a step up from Friday?
Yeah, a step up, step in the right direction. There's so many things we can do a lot better, but in terms of what we created today, and also limited the opposition team to one shot on goal of any note, which I think Jed saved towards the end, which is an important save. But they've always got a threat about them, but we just needed to make more of those attacking opportunities.
Is there an anxiousness in front of goal now, and is that understandable as a result of the amount of time?
I don't think so, because first two 1v1s, I don't think Chrissy will be anxious about goals because he scored so many of them and he's not one to be affected. Wardy, probably that chance came a little bit too soon in terms of his return from injury. Those were the three best chances of the game. Giovanni hits the post, and then you're looking at different moments of forcing their centre-halves and goalkeeper to really work, and that didn't quite materialise. But in terms of the structure and look, the endeavour of the team, the intent of it, I was much more pleased sat here than I have been previously, and that's a good starting point at any stage of the season, let alone now. And then we've got to add the layers of quality on top of that.
The introduction of Luke Thomas late in the game seemed to give you a bit of a spark as well, did you think?
Well, yeah, but it's an introduction. Same with Wardy, really, we're pushing those, and I think in games like that, and it certainly shows Friday, just a bit more legs, a few more legs, quite more dynamic nature to the team, because then that might create a bit more space. With no disrespect to the players on the pitch in the first half or the first hour, we didn't really have that explosion. LT showed a few signs of that, and obviously once we get more out of him in terms of a fitness perspective, then he'll be pushing for a start, and Wardy as well, because he covers the ground. So there's different ways to attack, different ways to defend, but that is one thing which in a tight game, which generally they are this time of the season, you're looking for that little bit extra. It might be an outstanding skill set. Anthony Evans, first free kick of the game, that should really be a chance for ourselves, or blistering pace. That's what we're building towards.
As a former defender, I'm sure you enjoyed the clean sheet, as you do as a manager. Was that a much cleaner defensive game as well all round, do you think?
I think so. I thought the way they went about their work, they got there first more often than not. Look, there's a physical aspect to their front line. Udo and then Bowman coming on into them, and obviously sort of running the channels to a certain extent. So there's strength in that opposition team, and people sick of me saying, but that's still quite a young group, keeper included. So I really like the way Jed was positive. A lot of high balls, and he wanted to catch as opposed to punch and just take a little bit of pressure off. So those moments are so important. Even when Willow was off the pitch, we defended a set piece properly. They got some big boys in their team, so that's progression for me. The headline will always be now not scored in 5 games, and how do we start creating more? But a clean sheet and the chances we created, the goal was the only thing missing really.
We spoke before the game about Cameron Conte not being in the squad today. For those who didn't hear it, can you explain why he wasn't involved?
Well, we're deloading him to a certain extent. He's played more minutes than any player since he signed. I think him and Chrissy Martin are in a similar position. Now, Chrissy's a bit more robust, whereas Camille, we're conscious of it. There was a bit of tightness after the game on Friday. And also we have to talk about where his performance levels have been when he first came in and where they've been in recent weeks or recent games. So I think he'll do him the world of good. And now all of a sudden with those midfield options and Brandon coming back in, you could just sense Brandon wasn't quite at that real sharpness of what he's been through the last week or so. I think you can probably expect that. So I'm looking forward to them all being in a better physical place and then seeing how their game unfolds off the back of it. Because there was times where we threatened to go through the middle of them and it just the last moment just let us down a little bit.
I think you spoke in the lead up to this game about maybe Jack Hunt being closest. Is he still the closest of the absentees to rejoining the group?
Well, a little clump of them, 3 of them. I don't think Elkin's too far away. Tristan, I don't think he's too far away either. So back end of this week, I think they'll all be training fully, and Hunty's in that group. So it's just how much they'll be able to do between now and Saturday in the team environment. But great to have options there. But I just like the whole intent of the back line, and even Luca's tackle at the end. That's the simplicity of what we're instructing him before the game, is just show that little bit of up and at him and front foot and putting your body into it. And it's great to see Luca do that towards the end of the game.